You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, we're coming here with a great podcast. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for being here. Be sure to go to all of our different websites, on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those different places so you can do the thing. Also see everything we're reading and reviewing on goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Today we have an amazing gentleman here today with us. His name is Sean O'Rourke, and he is a passionate real estate professor or professional, excuse me. He might be a professor. I don't know. We'll find out. An investor. His aim is to be the most trusted advisor to direct people towards the right deals. For the last 3 years, he's acquired the necessary knowledge and experience to help him tailor his services to meet the unique needs of his client. Sean understands that every home buyer, seller, or investor has their own preferences and wishes that they want to be fulfilled. He is attentive, energetic, and enthusiastic. Hence, he will be able to address all of your concerns and deliver to the best of his ability what we're looking for. So we're going to find out more about what he does. Welcome to the show, Sean. How are you?
What's up, Chris? Appreciate you having me on, man.
It's wonderful to have you on. Give us your plug so people can find out your internet site.
Yeah, so I actually have a coaching business. It's 90 days to escape your 9 to 5. That is actually, the website is highperformanceedu.com. And so what we do there is coach people on how to do real estate from beginning to end without any money or very little money. You don't have to have it to start. So that's what we do. I teach people that. And then I also do a ton of flips, deals, buy and holds, and everything in between as far as real estate. So if anybody has any deals locally in the Southeast, they can send them my way as well. I'd potentially buy them from them.
There you go. The real estate market is hot right now. It's just freaking hot. It's crazy. It's just going through the roof, and I don't know. It's the most wildest thing ever. So give us some more details on what was your title with the company?
Yeah, I'm the owner, CEO and owner of the company. I guess to start from the beginning, I mean, the company started because I had to start somewhere. I was living, paycheck to paycheck, made good money, and but I wanted to get into real estate. And because I lived paycheck to paycheck, I didn't have the money to start real estate. And everybody thinks you have to have money to start in real estate, or you have to have money, or know somebody that has. I put $1,000 on a credit card just to get a little bit of understanding of how the real estate market works. And then I went at it full force, man, and was able to turn that thing around really quick and make some decent money. And so that's where all this came from. Was I knew where I started, and I know from talking to other people what they think, and I want to curb that misconception.
Definitely. Yeah, because a lot of people are like, well, maybe they don't have good credit, or maybe they don't have a lot of money, or money for a down, or maybe they don't have the income. There's a million different ways to kill a mortgage deal, as we used to say in the business. So what do you do when you coach and you help people? What do you help them do?
Yeah, so basically first I work with them on, if you don't have a deal, you have nothing. So what I train them to do initially is we start with mindset, understanding what you can do and how to do it, and then getting out of your own way. So that's the first thing we do, because you got to get rid of that first. Then we take action. So what I tell people is fail forward, make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but if you're not doing something, you're not ever going to be successful. You're going to be sitting there in limbo.
Yeah, you can't just be sitting around.
So do something. And so that's what we do next is we teach them, okay, go out and do something, take a little bit of money, even if it's $200, go take that $200 that you found in your seat cushions and go out, pull some data and start contacting people and just reaching out to somebody, because that's how you find deals. It's all a law of numbers. The more people you talk to, the more opportunity you have to find a deal.
And you've got to know what you're looking for. That's important. I was a real estate agent for 6 years and a mortgage broker for almost 20. So you got to understand what you're looking for, what's out there. You got to know the difference between a good deal and a bad deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so that's the other thing we coach them on is a lot of times too, as a homeowner, somebody is potentially either inherited a house or they have a property that's going down. They don't have the money to fix it up. So what we do is we coach people to say, okay, look, guys, we're here in this business to help people. We're not here buying real estate. So if we can find the people that we can help, then in turn, we can potentially make a profit. But we coach people to say, okay, well, here are some potential issues that we want to look for so that we can help somebody, and just go through that list. Okay, look for these kind of scenarios of how we can do it, and then turn those scenarios into a win-win for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I suppose the market's hot everywhere across the nation. It seems like rents are up and people are buying houses left and right and stuff. It's kind of like almost like 2008 again. Do you see that they might be? I imagine there's some people that they're tapped out. Maybe they're entering foreclosure. Do you guys teach people how to deal with foreclosure buying and stuff like that?
Yeah, we can. So yes, and we do in some of our stuff. But what we do on that side of it, hopefully, is we actually catch it before it's even getting into that foreclosure process, so that people's credit isn't just absolutely destroyed through that. Yeah. And that goes back to helping. I mean, that's one thing I tell them is we care about people and not about profit. If you can care about that person, the profit will come, right? Mm-hmm. So catch it before it destroys their credit, and see if you can transition that into, okay, let's put a little money in your pocket, get you out of this scenario, and go. So
do you teach beginners, intermediate, expert level people? I mean, what sort of client do you usually have that's your main client?
So we do more of the beginners, but I do have the opportunity to get into a lot more in-depth as far as intermediate and an expert, just because I've learned through the process of once you start getting an intermediate and expert, you're buying larger deals. So we currently buy larger multifamily deals, mobile home parks, RV parks, mini storages. So I have that ability, if somebody's interested, can do that exact same thing. I really have focused on somebody that was like me at the beginning, because I want to help as many people as I can.
So do they work one-on-one with you? Do you have a team that they work with? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's all virtual. I've got a few different things. I've got a private Facebook page that you can go in. It's kind of a subscription-based Facebook page that you can do. And then you can buy a course, and I've got 70 different videos that I've laid out that you can go at your own pace and follow through that. But then you also get into that. You get a subscription to that Facebook page as well. And then every week I get on a Zoom call where we work through things. We call that the deal room, and we work through those issues.
And then what about fixer-up stuff? Like, do you teach them how to, do the fixer-up stuff so they don't spend too much money and they make sure they come under budget?
I haven't started that yet. So That's the next implementation to this. Right now it's to get started, but absolutely, that's my next plan, because I think we did quite a few. I think we had 20 flips going at one time last year. So that's the next plan, is to kind of teach people the struggles that I had, because that's really where I want to be honest. I don't want to give them any fluff. I want to say, okay, here's the hardships that I dealt with. This is how I tried to get around it and fix it. Some of the things I didn't fix, and maybe you can tell me how to make it better. But here's what I did and how I was successful and what I did in my business.
So what are some other ways that you guys are pretty helpful in working with people and teaching them to go about this business?
Yeah. So once you have the deal, you need to know what to do with it. So in my simple brain, I think of it as, some people say you're in a box. Well, I want to take that box and kick that thing down the road. Okay. I don't want you to even think that you're in a box. Right. And so what I want them to do is understand, okay, once we have a deal, there are multiple disposing strategies that you can look at, whether that be a sub-2 deal or if it's a buy and hold, if it's an owner finance, if you wanted to owner finance it, whatever the strategy would be that would take that deal and make it a potential deal. So sometimes the numbers don't work, but if you can buy it from the owner at X amount of dollars for what they're wanting, and then pay that down over 3 years and get it to where you need it to be, put a tenant in there, then it makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
With the way rents are going too, I mean, you definitely, I was thinking, I guess all the people are just moving back into the cities is part of the issue. Do you work on a lot of house flipping, or you do mostly look at, okay, let's put a renter in there and and do the long sort of residual income sort of
I love
thing,
it.
or the investment income?
Yeah, good question. So we do both, and here's the reason why. We do our both for the fact we do the flips and the wholesaling for the fast cash. Okay, so that generates cash income, cash coming in. That actually helps pay for the marketing and everything else. And my team, they get amped up on the commissions. But what we do on the other side is we buy for long term. That depreciation helps offset that high cash flow value or that capital gains value coming in, right? So you have to do one if you're going to do another, or taxes are going to be through the roof. So you have to offset that. Well, you offset that by depreciation.
Yeah. And people, you show people how to put the LLCs together and the whatever they need to do to get the licensing and all that sort of stuff to set up the company and whatever they need to do to hold the property. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the key is going from beginning to end.
Yeah. Is LLC still a popular way to own property these days?
Yeah. So most of my property is going to be in an LLC.
There you go. And do you set up each individual LLCs for each property so that they're kind of isolated in their liability?
It depends on the property. So on single family houses, I would say no. We put them kind of in a bulk package in one LLC. But if it's a larger multifamily unit, say 32 unit or so, it's going to be in its own entity.
Yeah. Do you what is it really hot out there where it's hard to get deals, or you just have to find the deals that are out there and do what you can with them before somebody else finds out about them, I guess?
Yes and no. So that's the best answer I can give you. It is hot out here as far as finding deals. Inventory is extremely low. Builders aren't building because things are through the roof. Inflation's heavy, so it's hard to. I mean, inflation's rising so fast right now that it's hard to even judge what the building cost is going to be in 3. So what's happened is it's slowed down the new construction. Inventory has gone down because of that, and people are in a feeding frenzy trying to buy property while interest rates are still low before they hike them.
Yeah, this sounds a lot like 2008. I mean, it was just crazy. How fast things were going up, and then it hit the peak. I mean, do you see a bubble?
I think something at some point is going to have to happen. Prices cannot continue to rise.
Yeah, they can't just keep going up forever.
Yeah, they can't, right? So now, does it mean that it's going to be a big bust? I don't know. I don't really know if it's going to be a large bust or not. But what I do know is that at least something's going to have to slow down, and then it'll I think it'll drive down a little bit. I just don't think, because lack of inventory is so low, I don't think that it can bust as hard as it did in 2008.
Yeah, and when it busted, especially in Las Vegas, when it busted, what it was the inventory just finally caught up to everything.
Yeah.
And so we're nowhere near that. And it can take years for that inventory to catch up. I think it took in Vegas about 3 to 4 years for them to catch up. All the builders had pulled their money out of them and their permits and stuff, and all their planning they were doing when 9/11 happened. Yeah. And so they were like, oh shit, this is getting weird. And so they pulled their stuff back. And so it took 4 or 5 years for them to, get the stuff back put in, get the planning redoing and everything. And by the time that they did, it created this crazy ass market. And then of course you reach a point where it finally caught up, and that's when the market crashed. But yeah, we're a long ways from there with the way inflation's going. It's just crazy. Some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. There's a lot of helicopter money in the market right now too.
What is helicopter money?
Just money that's been infused into the market. You know what I call it? Helicopter money. People are just throwing. It's just crazy, and it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
crazy.
But you do need to be careful though, because I remember in 2008, this is why it's important for people to learn from you and just not go into the market and just throw money into the air. I remember I had a friend, he went to like 5 or 6 different courses, the big Carlton Sheets sort of courses. Yeah. Spent like, I don't know, oodles amounts of money, 20, 30 grand. And then he went out and he literally bought everything that he knew he shouldn't have bought because the market was so crazy in Vegas. And he'd bought in like the highest rent market in Vegas at the time was like $1,600 a month for a 4-bedroom family unit, for SFR, single family. And the market was $1,600. He paid $2,500 a month. He was paying $2,500 for what he bought, and he had bought them on negative AM loans.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, you're $1,100 upside down, and in a year or 6 months, that thing's going to start going through the roof unless you refinance it. Like, you can't get this covered. And he's like, I don't understand why. And I'm like, just simple logic. Like, people, it has to be rentable. But I don't know. It sounds like the way rent's going. I mean, rent's up 40%. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And at a certain point, and here's the key, and this is something I tell people all the time. Just because rents are through the roof, your buy box does not say buy at what you can rent it at right now, because rents are going to come back down. They have to at some point. They have to. So you buy it smart now with the anticipation, okay, I can get $1,000 a month, but I'm going to be really good at cash flow at 800. I need to buy it at 800.
A lot of people don't understand how cash flow is so important in a real estate deal and why that makes sense. Yeah. And the key too, I mean, even right now, so one of the big things right now is if you can buy a deal right now at a good price, and then refinance that thing back out, burr it out, put the money, the loan money that you get extra back in your pocket, rent that thing out. My thought process is, and people may think I'm absolutely insane, and it may be because I'm in Mississippi, I don't know, but my thought process is if I can make $200 a month cash flow per door, I'm tickled to death. And then plus you're getting the depreciation and everything on top of that, the write-offs. And
absolutely.
And some people don't realize that sometimes it's not, unless you can really flip a deal, sometimes it's not a business where you're getting rich overnight, but you're getting lots of tax breaks and deductions, and then what do they call it? Passive income, basically.
Yeah, and your net worth goes up every month. Tenants are paying your net worth up every month. Yeah.
There you go. What are some other things we want to talk about, what you guys coach on and what you teach people?
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to tell a little bit about how I got started so that people understand that I'm not this guru, right? I know what I'm talking about because I experienced it through hard knocks, and I still do it today. I still work day to day. I come into my office every day. So I was working a 9 to 5. I was in a production manufacturing facility, was not tickled about what I was doing every day. And so a friend of mine came to me and asked me if I'd help him flip a house. He had all the money, he had the house, but he didn't have the time. I had the time. So I get in there, start helping him flip the house. I hired the contractor for the business, and it went absolute just crap show right off the bat. Contractor started doing drugs, stealing light bulbs, just crazy stuff. Crazy. All right. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten into? Luckily, we turned it around and we made about 10 grand. So he split it. He made 5,000. I made 5,000. We were happy. But man, I bet I lost 50,000 hairs from going through that process.
Oh, wow.
Myself, I was like, there's got to be something easier. And I come across wholesaling, and I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. So I did my first deal was $750. I made $750, but so it wasn't anything. And now looking back on it, I should have made about 30,000. But what it did is it taught me. I was like, this is now feasible. And so I ended up doing 36 deals that first year, made 300 grand. And then I started investing in myself. I started paying to be in rooms with people that were smarter than me. I started hanging out with people that could teach me more than I already knew. And I was listening to podcasts and YouTube channels and so on and so forth, self-teaching myself how to do real estate. And then that was 3.5 years ago. So from 3.5 years ago to where I am today, with over $11.9 million in assets bought in less than 3 years, I try to tell people I'm a high school dropped out of high school. I went and got my GED because I thought, well, I needed to do something, and got a 2-year degree, right? I'm just a flunky. But if I can do it, I know somebody else can, right?
That's true. I mean, that's the beauty of real estate in what you can do with it. The drugstore is kind of funny. My same friend who overpaid for the properties, he wanted, like, I don't know, it was a kitchen or something. There was something he wanted to have redone, cabinets, I think it was. And he'd been using a guy who was cheaper because he didn't have a contractor's license. And I'm like, how did you go to all Carlson teaching all these people and you don't use a guy with a contractor license? Anyway, he calls me up one day and he goes, yeah, the guy, I haven't heard from this guy from 3 or 4 days. And I go, well, what's the big deal? He goes, well, I gave him all the money up front for the deal. And I'm like, you paid somebody up front for work that they need to do? He goes, yeah, I'm thinking he's took off with the money. And I go, you're an idiot. He goes, yeah, well, I've worked with him on a couple of jobs, but he does this thing where he disappears for 3 days at a time. And I go, he's a meth head.
Yeah.
He goes on a meth binge for 3 days with your money. Finally caught up to the guy. I think he lost his money. I think it's like 12 grand or something, or 5 grand. It was painful. And I'm just like, why would you? He goes, I should report the guy and to the overseers. And I'm like, they don't oversee him because he doesn't have a license, you idiot. Like he's got no insurance. You can't.
Yeah.
And this is it's a real minefield. People don't realize if they don't know what they're doing and they're just like, I'm going to go into real estate investing. There's some real mindfalls like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only with that circumstance with flipping, but realistically in anything, you can over leverage something and you have an alligator. That sucker is eating money every month. And what do? You can't get out of it, because if you're going to try to sell it to somebody else, they're not going to want to pay for what you've paid for it if you've over leveraged it or overbought it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that go into real estate investing and any type of real estate. If you don't have some type of knowledge, you got to be careful. Now, I still tell people make mistakes. Just don't make big ones. It's okay to make mistakes. Just don't fall on your face.
And that's why it's good to, have a coach and learn about how it works and have someone who can kind of hold your hand, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because then it can get you through it. So the one website I have for you was simplehomeexits.com with a Z at the end. And then what were the other websites you had?
High Performance EDU.
Highperformanceedu.com or is it .edu?
I think it's .com, highperformanceedu.com.
edu.com. Let me pull up that website. I had the simple one that was up. So that's one where you teach the course. Now they can either sit and work with you, or there's videos they can take and watch.
Yes. Yeah. So there'll be a few different links, and actually this is just getting up and getting started. So really, I mean, we're just hitting the ground running on coaching people. Now I've been teaching people for a few years, but it's just been people that friends and family or whatever. So we really just hit this ground running. And there's one where you can just watch videos and go at your own pace. But then there's also a Facebook page that I have currently. It's called 90 Days to Escape Your 9 to 5. That's a free Facebook page that they can get into. I throw content in there every day. Every day I'm putting some kind of free content out. And then we also are going to have our deal room, which is a subscription based. I think it's like $97 a month. And then I'll be in there once a week, walking through deals, walking through things with you as well, kind of showing you and holding your hand.
Now, is this Podio Plus? Is that a software from you guys, or is that?
Yeah, so it hasn't even hit yet. Hopefully we'll have that up in the next couple of weeks. But what that is that's a CRM. So without what I have currently right now, I wouldn't be successful as far as where we've grown to. So starting out, you don't have to have a CRM, a customer management system, right? You just can work off a Google Sheets page for all that matter. But when you really start bringing in leads, so if let's say you're bringing in 30 to 40 leads a day, and then you have to follow up with them and all that stuff, that CRM is critical to being able to reminding you, okay, Sean, you need to call this lead. They said call them back in 13 days or whatever. And it keys you in and keeps you on track to say, I need to follow up with this person, or what did this person say? And what did we offer them? They just called me back up. I need to look at who they are. So I make sure that I'm fair in what I'm telling them.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep records and keep a tickle box, a CRM, because we used to call them the tickle box back in the day before software. And you definitely want to know what's going on with them, because you've got to follow up. And then sometimes if you're following up with somebody who's in trouble, sometimes they think, I used to do this with business deals. They think, well, I can maybe make this work another month or two. And you're like, dude, you're in foreclosure. like you're running out of time. You haven't made payments for 3-6 months or whatever it is these days. And so you got to be able to follow up, know where they're at, know when to follow up with them. Because I used to always have these people with businesses, they would call me up and they'd say, hey, you said you were interested in buying our business before it filed bankruptcy. And I said, yeah, I gave you a first right of refusal to make sure you call me. And I remember telling you, don't call me the day before you file bankruptcy. And they go, yeah, we're down at the court right now about to file. You want to buy the company? And I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
it's like, oh man, people are really be stupid. So you definitely want to be able to follow up with them, find out what's going on and everything else. What are some other things we can tease out? Looks like you guys have a negotiations mastery course.
Yeah, man, that is killer. So what that does too on the negotiation mastery is that shows you step by step on the psyche of people, because what we're doing is we're dealing with people, right? Again, it's we're helping people out of their problems. But just like what you just said about that foreclosure, people get locked. They're like an ostrich sticking their head in the sand. They're like, it'll just go away if I just forget about it. And so a lot of times what happens is you have to let them understand, no. Look, guys, we're here to help you. So how do we do that? Let me ask you these specific questions and because they're going to have a block. They're going to have a wall up. Nobody wants to admit that they have issues. And a lot of people, when you just reach out to them from the beginning, they are not going to open up to you like they're your best friend. So you have to kind of ask questions. You need to let them know that you're here to help. You're not here to tear them down, and you're not here to try to manipulate or anything else. So you just ask them specific questions. What about this? How does this work? Or how to, for instance, let's say you call a guy that's real hyped up and he's like, yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you will go back into that conversation with that same type of attitude, what happens is they become comfortable with you because you're like-minded. You're keyed into that same person. That's what that negotiations mastery course does, is it teaches you step by step on various different ways to be able to get to somebody for them to understand you're here to help them, not to hurt them.
Yeah, rapport is everything in sales. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what you're doing. You're being a salespeople and helping people with their problems. But if you don't have rapport or trust, they're not going to be able to trust you, and
that's exactly
you can't get anything done. What are some other things you want to touch on that can tell people more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so we've got a couple other things that we do as far as our long-term holds that work really well for us. We also hire out VAs overseas to do our initial touch. Yeah. So as we're calling or as we reach out to you, whatever that form of marketing would be, we have one of our employees that are over in the Philippines. She'll just reach out and say, hey, this is Chris. Just wanted to reach out to you, let you know that we have found your house and didn't know if you ever had any interest in possibly selling, and just makes that initial touch. And if they say, yes, we would be interested, she says, okay, well, look, this is going to be over my head, but Sean can help you. Let me get you in touch with him.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not abrasive. We try to be, again, if somebody's like, look, we don't want those kind of calls. They're like, sorry, that's not what our intent is. We just wanted to reach out to you if we could help.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the things I like teaching people about that too. The key is here's one of the big takeaways that I learned in real estate. So I was out and I was doing deals, boom, boom, boom. When deals were going good and I was making pretty decent money, and let's say I was making $5,000 a pop. So every deal I was doing, I was making $5,000. All right. But I was doing good. Well, one day I woke up and I was like, man, why can't I make $15,000 a deal? Like, what's different? And I just changed my mindset. You know what? The next deals I do, I'm doing $15,000. Nothing changed in what I did. My marketing strategy didn't change. The people that I talked to didn't change. It was my mindset that changed, and it went overnight from $5,000 to $15,000 a deal.
That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, because it's all mindset. It's how you think. What is your perception of your value in time? Because realistically, that's what we are. We're a value in time. Anybody can make money. Time is the most value. And so how do you value time, and what do you say that you are? What is your value? What is your worth? Once you have that mentally, that is your worth. There's guys that sell these masterminds, and they'll say, well, look, this mastermind needs to be $20,000 a mastermind. And then another gentleman asked me, he said, well, look, why don't you charge $50,000 a mastermind? I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if anybody would buy it. He started charging $50,000 a mastermind and still sold out. It was because he perceived his own value. That's key. Mindset is huge in what we do.
Most definitely. So before we go out, anything more you want to touch on?
Man, I don't know.
Sounds like we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a cool website and stuff. You've been doing this since 1998, I think.
No. So I started in real estate 3.5 years ago. So 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did I say? Did I say 1998?
Yeah.
I had 8 in the brain. It's Monday. I'd seen on your website you started in 2018. There's a picture with your family.
Yeah.
And so, wow, where did I get that? I was off by like, I don't know, 2 decades. Wow. All right. I'll have another drink over here. I might be on the meth. I might be on the 3-day binge. Anyway, Sean, it was wonderful to have the show. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you allowing me to come on, and
No problem.
it's been a good time.
There you go. Give us your plugs so people can find you on the interwebs and get to know you better, and the best way to reach out to you.
Yeah, so they can reach me out on Facebook, Sean, SeanO''ORURKE, Sean O'Rourke. That's my personal Facebook page. Reach out to me there. You can message me. You can also go to our free group on Facebook, which is 90 Days to Escape Your number 9-5, 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. And that's free. Just join that and then ask all the questions you want, man. And I'm highly active in that group. I try to help as many people as I can. You can also go to our website, highperformanceedu.com. That's our training courses. It is not completely up to date yet, but hey, like I said, fail forward, right? Do something and then you can make it better.
There you go. Thanks for coming on, Sean. Thanks, Monis, for tuning in. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. See everything we're doing over there. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. You can see my books and everything we're reading and reviewing there. All our groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the LinkedIn newsletter. That thing is killing it over there in the 132,000 member LinkedIn group. To be honest, be good to each other, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.